Welcome to another episode of the Back Catalogue podcast. This is the podcast where we, and by we I mean me, Apple, and my co-host / co-founder Vincent, we dive into the streaming services and we tell you, the listener and the viewer, what is worth it and what is not. It's new year, new intros, because we're not strictly Disney Plus anymore.
Yeah, welcome back to 2022. Well, not welcome back to 2022, just welcome to 2022. Like, if you've been here before, like, let us know how it was, so we know what to prepare for, know what to expect.
I reckon it's going to be downhill, just like our podcast. It's just going to go downhill. You know, they started off well. Well, at least in our minds, they started off well, but they're going to be going downhill. But Vincent, Happy New Year. We haven't even said this.
Oh yeah, Happy New Year. I was going to say, I haven't had anyone to talk about how this podcast is actually good. I've just heard negative things, really. Oh,
yeah. But like that's going to happen, you know. It's the ebbs and flows. We're just in the ebbs.
Yeah, we just got haters, you know. Haters going to hate. Shout out Taylor Swift.
Dude, and whatever Taylor Swift is doing, that's sort of what we're doing as well, when you think about it. Like, where's my red scarf, Taylor? Where's my red scarf?
What's the red scarf?
You know, that's just references to people who are like on social media regularly, you know? Because like you're detoxing at the moment from social media things, whereas I'm just in there.
Yeah,
I'm in deep now.
Well, you're doing it for me as well.
I have to, man.
We have our weekly phone calls where you just tell me about all the different social media events that have occurred.
I'm like, this is the latest meme. This is what it is.
The red scarf.
It's like, you know, red scarf, yeah. Others are talking about NFTs and, you know, stock markets. You know, what's the latest thing to buy into? You and I are talking about the latest memes. You know, for ages I thought NFTs were pronounced NFPs. I thought it was non-for-profits. So I was giving my money to non-for-profits for all this time instead of the NFTs, which is wild. Which is absolutely wild. So I've been losing money, really.
Yeah, that's right.
But, you know,
that's not investments, really.
It's tax deductible at least. So, Vincent, we thought, you know, new year, new us. Vincent has never watched one of the most classic movies of all time. One of the, I would say, a springboard for the career of the one and the only Keanu Reeves, right? We're talking The Matrix. We're talking, I think, let me get up because I
1999.
1999's very own The Matrix.
1999.
So, Vincent, we wanted to start off this year by not only doing a movie that is, you know, it's in many ways stood the test of time, but also is it just as relevant now than it was then? Well, as it was then. That's
I think Elon Musk is keeping it relevant.
He's keeping it relevant with what he wants to do. That's right.
Yeah.
But Vincent, this is also the first time that you've watched this movie, so it's sort of new year, new you as well, because maybe your mind has been opened up to the world of the Matrix and the world of simulations.
Yeah, we're turning into a conspiracy theory podcast this year. That's all we're doing.
May as well, man. We may as well. There's nothing.
I'm sure they get more clicks than we do.
Oh yeah, have you seen those? Oh, I mean, I was going to say, have you seen those ones on Instagram, bro? These ones on Instagram that I always see. It's like, have you seen the theory in Doctor Strange? No, I haven't seen it. That's how the podcast goes. Like, they're not having a real conversation. They're just saying, like, you know, scripted talking points.
Yeah.
Which is what we might need to do.
Well, that seems like,
you know,
where the world
do you know
is
about
going.
the city of Atlantis? Look, I'm happy for it to go down that rabbit hole. You know, I've said many times on this podcast and many times in person that Twitter is one of the most toxic places in the universe, right? But I love just delving right into it. I'll go far right, I'll go far left, I'll go just far out, anywhere, you know?
I'll go anywhere it takes me. I'll go.
But Vincent, what we're going to do is we're going to get into this movie. We're going to talk about the plot, of course. We're going to talk about some of the characters. Now, Vincent, you specifically want to talk about, you know, the bits that you loved, the bits that you didn't like. And also, you've got some questions.
I've got some questions about this movie.
I'm excited about the questions because I won't be able to answer them.
No.
Because throughout the movie, we were watching the movie last night and my partner was like, hey, what's going on with this? And I was like, I guess it's as good as mine. But then later I felt that they explained things, but we'll get into that.
Yeah.
And then finally, we're going to finish this off with some simulation theories. If we can be bothered doing it.
That's right.
Because I'd love to talk about it.
We'll look up BuzzFeed's eight top simulation theories.
Eight top? Like BuzzFeed sloppy toppy simulation theories?
Excuse
All
me.
right, so let me get the synopsis up, and then we'll give our own synopsis of what this is. So, Thomas Anderson, a computer programmer, is led to fight an underground war against powerful computers who have constructed his entire reality with a system called the Matrix. Now, just before we get into this, Vincent, do you think that is a good synopsis there?
Going to be honest,
because I think that's quite fitting.
I wasn't really paying attention, but I reckon it's probably pretty good.
Now, this has got the 8.7 out of 10 on the IMDb. It's got the 88% on the Rotten Tomatoes.
It's pretty even.
It had a let me find this budget. Well, it had a box office of $466.6 million. So in 1999, that's big money.
That's dollar bills.
That is dollar bills, and I believe
I feel like that was the peak time for a movie like this to come out. Because we talking
1999.
1999. This is the end of the millennia, and people are thinking that the computers are just going to switch off. Like that, all the software developers forgot what came after 1999.
They forgot about just putting zeros in there.
They just forgot that like numbers keep increasing. You know?
Yeah. So look, we're in a time of conspiracy theories now, but that has to be one of the top tier conspiracy theories of all time. It's
pretty good.
That they were thinking, like, literally people in bunkers as the new year was rolling in, thinking that nukes were going to be let off because everything was going to revert to zero. And the nukes would have been like, what do? I just got to go. I just got to go. But look, see, I want to know. I want a documentary on the Y2Kers after, like the day after.
Yeah, what did they were
thinking the day after?
Yeah,
like were they like, nah, maybe it's tomorrow, bro. Like maybe they're on, America's calendar.
Yeah, what did they consider the time zones?
Did the nukes consider the time zones?
Was that plus 9 GMT?
Because if you get to that point where the conspiracy theorists are incorrect and their conspiracy is simply a conspiracy, where do they go from there?
Well, then they find another conspiracy.
That's true. And right now there's so many, which is great.
Yeah, you can get these conspiracies on everything.
Yeah, there could be a conspiracy on us one day.
There could be.
Yeah,
like whether who killed the back catalogue?
Who killed Apo from the back catalogue? It's gonna be. This is how we're gonna go. All right, this is how we're gonna go. We're gonna be driving, right? We're gonna be doing a food video. I'm gonna say, hey, we're at McDonald's. Do you want anything? And we're gonna be 45 at this point, and you're just gonna run us into just the McDonald's, and like you're gonna run us into the McDonald's. No one will die in there, but then I'll be like, Vincent, what do you do? And you just grab me out of the car and you put my head in the deep fryer, and you just say, this is how it ends. And then you'll dive in the deep fryer as well.
I'll dive in to this, tiny. I'll just dive in.
People will be like, conspiracy theory, why did the back catalogue die? That's exactly the reason. But knowing us, because we film so much stuff in advance, like we'll have content still going.
There'll be content for years, and you'll be like, didn't these guys die? What's going on here?
Yeah, man. Well, that's, if there's any way to go, it's when we're 45, we're divorced, we got guts, like our guts are hanging over our belts, and, we're still doing food reviews. We get about 200 views now, though. We get about 200 average.
That's pretty good. But you've got to think of, like, the inflation of the world population. That'd be the equivalent of 20, 30 views now.
That's right.
So we're actually not doing better. But because of, capitalism, where we're thinking that we're doing better.
Capitalism, the patriarchy, it's all like affecting us, man. And that's what leads to our death. But should we get into this movie, Vincent?
Let's get into this movie. Do you want me to talk about my experience watching this, or the start of my experience watching this, having known about this movie for, most of my adult life?
Yeah.
And having a pretty, I thought, solid understanding of what it was actually about.
I want to know your pre-Matrix understanding and your post-Matrix understanding right now.
So my pre-Matrix understanding. I actually wrote this all down. My pre,
show
like
me
this
that
is
you got notes.
like this is new year, new me. Like we got.
That's
like,
wild, and look how like neat it is.
And that's another page. Like we got like
that's
multiple
neat.
pages, bro. We got multiple pages. Anyway,
that's wild.
So my pre-understanding was I understood that there would be some sort of alternate space, the Matrix, where they can go and do wild things. Like I've seen them do kung fu in the air and whatnot.
Yeah,
and I assumed it was some sort of digital space. I actually didn't know that this was a complete simulation kind of movie. I just thought there was a digital space where, you know, like an Inception, you go into their dreams and you steal something. Like they go into the Matrix and they can do other criminal activities and whatnot.
They're just eating juicy steaks and whatnot.
That's right. And they're just saying like, bro, I know this ain't real, but far out, it's juicy.
Like, look how red and juicy it is. Like, it's almost too red, but also at the same time, I was craving steaks after that.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was what I thought before going into this. And I thought it was, you have the real world and you have the Matrix, and they're the same. Like, they just look like the world, but one of them you can do wild things.
So it's sort of like, you know, things aren't going that well in the real world, so we go into the Matrix, we have fun, but there's sinister things going on within the Matrix.
Yeah, it's like metaverse things, you know?
Metaverse. Oh, dude, yeah.
Shout out Mark.
Shout out Mark.
So that was my initial understanding, and I didn't actually realise how sci-fi this movie was.
This is as sci-fi as it gets.
I wrote down, this is peak sci-fi. When they, I mean, the start was pretty cool, but when they started to flesh out the story, in the sense that, you know, you have Morpheus, they pull him out of that weird container in the robot place, and there's just humans everywhere. I was like, what movie is this? Is this the same movie? I had never seen that before.
Yeah, that's true. And there's those when Morpheus is explaining what actually happened and how the whole Matrix started and what the world looks like now.
Yeah.
And there's those big like squid-like creatures just grabbing things, like grabbing the like almost embryos and putting them in different spaces.
Yeah, dude,
that is wild. I even forgot about that.
Yeah,
I've seen this movie before.
This is peak sci-fi. Peak.
Yeah. Which is one of the funny things that when I was thinking, I can't believe Vincent hasn't watched this before.
Yeah.
Because like this is your area of not expertise, but this is your area of comfort when it comes to movies.
Yeah, I know. I was watching it and I'm going, why have I never watched this? This has everything that I want. This has This has AI who overtake this human race. This is post-apocalyptic. This has got like simulations.
Yeah.
This is wild.
It's also got, you know, it's got Australian things in it as well. You know, you see Combanks, you see Westpac's in the background.
Do you?
You see it because I believe some of this was filmed in Sydney, Australia.
That's hilarious. Yeah. I thought you were talking about a kid that was Australian.
That kid was Australian, right?
That kid was Australian.
Yeah, that's right. But no, this film was done in Australia, and I think the subsequent films were also done in Australia as well.
That's pretty cool.
Which is pretty cool, you know. Shout out to Australia for just doing Australian things.
That's right. And if anyone was going to set up a simulation, they'd simulate Australia.
You'd have to, man, because there's wild things going on down here.
That's right.
Although, in saying that, Australia is not as wild as people think it is.
That is true. We've talked about this before.
Yeah. And compared to what's going on overseas.
Like, you've got a snake that you might see, but in America, you got bears opening car doors.
You got bears opening car doors with their mouth. You got a moose in Canada.
Yeah, I know which one I would prefer. Like, give me redbacks and brown snakes any day of the week.
Oh. You know what's the good thing about a brown snake? If it's over there and I'm over here, if it's like 10 meters away from me, that thing would just stay 10 meters away from me.
Yeah.
But if a bear is 10 meters away from me, it's over for me.
That's it, man. That's it. Like, you can throw hands, but the bear will catch them and most likely break them.
Yeah, and like the bear's throwing claws as well.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, when you've got claws involved, not just hands, that's when things get dicey. And by dicey, I mean you are cut into like dice pieces.
Yeah.
Which is wild. But yeah, we have talked about that before.
But anyway, yeah,
this
just surprised me for how sci-fi it was and how wrong I was. You know, I thought you have the red pill I knew you had the red pill and the blue pill one of them you see how far the rabbit hole goes and whatever, and the other one you stay in the... I thought that was just, you're going into the Matrix now. I didn't realise that was to escape the Matrix. Oh man,
Yeah.
so you're frozen right now. You were just frozen.
No, I know. We it's all right. We froze up. We both froze up. Can you hear me now though?
I can hear you now.
No, there was just a bit of freezing, but we're good though. We're good. But yes, you're correct in saying that you thought that was going to be the moment where he wakes up in another space.
Yeah.
But that was just essentially to... I can't remember what the words that Morpheus
It was
used
to,
exactly
he
were.
said something about, you have to use that to disrupt your signals so you can get out of the Matrix or whatever.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah. So the whole premise of this movie, though, I just want to get into it just very quickly. And spoilers for the Matrix.
Yes, spoilers for the Matrix.
Potentially spoilers for the new Matrix, which the reason that we're doing this is because we haven't watched the new Matrix.
Yeah, and I want to watch that.
And we want to hit up the algorithms, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The idea is that there is a character called Mr. Anderson, aka Neo, he's doing like computer hacking things. He's getting money just selling things on the black market, re computer parts, right? And he is the one person. He is he's the redeemer of this world. He's the one person that is going to essentially stop this AI and stop the war from happening and make things revert back to some sort of normalcy where humans are able to live their life again. And to do that, he has to be taken out of this simulation and brought into what is the real world, which is, as Vincent said, a dystopian future.
Yeah.
And essentially, not only hilarity, but craziness ensues. This movie gets wild in the best of ways. Let's talk about the characters specifically before we get into things, because I feel that this movie is damn near perfect. And part of that is because all of these characters are so good, even the ones that you only get to see a little bit of.
See, I will disagree with you there.
Yeah, you can disagree with me, but let me finish my point.
Sorry, I've thrown you.
Everyone down to the guy that made the lady in the red dress. Right? I think that character, the man that made the lady in the red dress, is so well written because what else would you be doing if you were creating code in a dystopian future where the only 5 people you knew were on the same ship as you? And I know in later movies, there are more people that are around, and there is, how they referred to Zion throughout the movie. I'm talking to you specifically, Vincent.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know how they refer to Zion throughout the movie. There's other individuals there doing similar things.
Yeah,
right?
There's the Earth City Underground.
That's right. So there are other people, but if you're just sitting on a ship, eating slop, and you're what looks like maybe a guy in his early 20s, you're going to be making ladies in red dresses, right? You're going to be doing just the wildest things on the, you're going to be making the wildest things out of these simulations, because what else are you going to do? Because they didn't always send him in to do the dirty work, to beat up people and to try to find other heads, because he ain't capable of that, even with all the programs that he's got. But he is capable of making some crazy people and some ladies. So that's why I love that character, because that's exactly what people would be doing, especially horn dogs, right? 2, I like those other 2. I can't remember their names. Lady with the blonde hair.
Do you actually think that they were good characters?
I
they're not memorable at all.
I think they were. No, I think they were good because they just did their part, and they were just like, "Bro, I'm about to die," and then they died.
I feel like the main character. I think Trinity, Morpheus. I think Neo. I think Agent Smith or Mr. What is his name?
Yeah, Agent Smith.
Agent Smith. I think Oracle. I think they were all...
What about the man that eats a steak?
Yeah, okay, we'll get to him because I got something to say.
Because he eats that juicy steak pretty well. He made me hungry.
Well, it did look like a good steak.
I was thinking he's going to get some stuck in his soul patch as well, some of that juice.
Just like dripping off those few hairs. But I thought those main characters were really fantastic. I feel like in a scenario where there's like 8 people on the ship, we needed to at least feel like they were a part of something, that there was a bit of camaraderie, or there just didn't seem to be enough time spent with all the characters. And I know, it's difficult to do that. It's already a 2 hour, 15-minute movie. But I feel like when those people died, I was like, bro, I don't care. I know these people aren't going to be doing anything.
What about the man in the red dress?
See, that was...
he wasn't in the red dress specifically.
But he wished he was in the red dress. Nah, he was a bit better because they gave him a little bit, but they also... I feel like they still needed to give him more. I feel like there needed to be some more fleshed out characters.
Yeah. So when he died, you were like, no, the hornbag. Like, that you felt sad for him.
No, not at all.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? If you've got your 3 main characters that do a lot for the plot to progress, you don't really need to. And I know that you talked about the fact that it's only 2-hour movie, you can't do everything, but you don't really need to learn about everyone.
No, that's right. No,
because things can get bogged down when we start to we figure out that what was that like? I keep forgetting that
Trinity
name. No, not Trinity. The one with the blonde hair.
Switch.
That's right. We don't need to know about Switch's past.
No,
Switch doesn't need to
that's not what I'm
me
saying.
that she had a husband in 84.
I think the ideal scenario was having them interact with each other on the ship.
Like they're playing table tennis or something.
Like something like that. Like something to show that they're a team, they're a family, they're close-knit, because then it would give more impact to APAC. Was that the dude's name that
I think it was
Soul
APAC,
Patch?
yeah.
Anyway, Soul Patch.
No. I don't think that was...
That was the other guy that died, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, Soul Patch, the way he double-crossed them, it would have given more weight to that.
Because you would have thought they were all mates, and how
They
can
were
we do
all,
this
that's
to
right,
mates?
and how can we do this? And the other problem I have with him as a character is that it just kind of came out of nowhere that he double-crossed them.
Yeah, but did you want him in the background like this?
No. I'm saying, okay, so what I thought was, they're doing Matrix things. They're hacking into the Matrix. Surely he could be, hey, I'm sick of this. Like his only motivation was he was tired. So he's gonna double cross literally the only 6 people on Earth that could save the human race because Mans is tired.
Yeah. But there is that. Look, we won't get into this too much because otherwise we'll just be going back and forth on things we disagree with.
Yeah,
which is not the purpose of this podcast, right? We usually agree on things. But I think that there is that one scene with him and Neo when they're having that drink of like motor oil, and they're saying, he's saying, I can't believe that they got you out, and you're an adult. They didn't. They essentially brought you out and they threw this all onto you. Like, how hard is that? Like, you must be going through a lot. Mans was just expressing what he was feeling in that situation.
Yeah, I still think
he was expressing.
I still think when he had that meeting with Agent Smith, which was a great scene. I really love that scene.
Oh,
and
that's great.
Him with the steak and that, I know this is not real, but I still, I liked it. It's juicy and whatever.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that, but I think there needed to be more, him talking to someone else saying, hey, like, aren't you just sick of this? Because, Mans is obviously...
a couple more scenes of him doing that.
Yeah, because obviously Mans has been chosen to be in the team by Morpheus. He wasn't in the Earth civilization. He's been pulled out. So I think to just double cross, essentially leave them all for dead, just because Mans is tired.
It's a bit much for that situation.
Yeah. These are, the things I have here, these are very minor nitpicks. And just things that I think that could have been slightly changed, really.
That's fair enough. And look, we'll move off of this topic because I want to specifically talk about a character that you brought up, which is... Well, I do want to get into the 3, Morpheus, Trinity, and Neo.
Yeah.
But just quickly, let's talk about Agent Smith,
bro.
Because
my
every
favorite
scene
character
that guy's in is terrifying.
Hugo Weaving is unbelievable.
He is unbelievable, man.
And he's Australian as well.
He is Australian, which that's why they chose him, because he was there.
Yeah.
He just rocked up on set and he's like, "What are you guys doing here?"
He was going to the coffee shop, like around the corner from the set. They're like, "Hold on, what are you doing here, Hugo Weaving?" So I'm just getting a cafe. Do you want to be in this movie? Yeah, sure.
He's like, "I don't even need lines. Let me just say what I want to say."
Dude.
But every scene that he's in is made terrifying, not only because of the fact that he is an agent, he is unstoppable. They have the story of anyone that's ever interacted with the agents and tried to fight them has ended up dying. There's been no one that's won or come out, beating an agent. So not only there's that, but Hugo Weaving and the way that he chews the scenery, the way that he chews the scene, sorry. The way that he is able to like express his lines, and also it almost feels as if that's stuff that he just made up on the spot, because he was actually feeling that way at the time.
Yeah,
when he talks about the smell of the Matrix,
yeah,
and the smell of the people and how angry it makes him, and that he wants out of this situation. He doesn't want it to win because he wants to, stop the humans from doing what they want. He just wants things to get back to the way that it was for him. Yeah. He doesn't want to be within this Matrix. He wants to be out of it.
No, he
scary.
was definitely the best character in this movie, because any scene he was in, you felt uneasy.
Yeah,
and he is exactly who I would expect an AI to produce a human. Like, that's the person I would think an AI would create. The way that he talks, the way his mouth doesn't move that much when he talks, and this cadence, man, everything about his character was amazing.
That's what I was going to say as well. It's a lot of it with him is that the way that he speaks and the way that his mouth and face moves doesn't seem human. It seems exactly like, as you said, it's like there's a robot in there that this is what an angry human looks like.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to look like, which is wild. Now, all I'm saying is, they are AI and all that kind of stuff. They probably don't feel anything. But Mans could have at least got some chapstick in the Matrix. His lips look dry as hell for the whole movie. Everyone's lips look dry as hell in this movie. And I know that there's, they do a lot of different... They probably had makeup on because there was all that green coloration on their skin because they had to show that they were in the Matrix.
Yeah.
And the code is green and whatnot. But everyone's lips look chapped. Which is wild because it's a simulation, and they're going to be truly simulating that lips are chapped?
Yeah, because remember what they said? They had to make it a struggle.
No, they had to.
Heads.
That's right. That's true. They couldn't
so they
be
had to put them
all perfect.
They had to give them chapped lips.
That's true.
Because really, if your lips are well lubricated 24/7, you got no issues with life.
You're pretty good at that point.
Yeah,
it's a small win, but it's actually in the.
You
in the
imagine
grand
not
scheme
having
of
to
things,
lick your lips
big.
all the time.
Oh, see, I'll do it now. I'm doing it now.
I know, it's the dream.
Like, imagine you eat one of those cinnamon and sugar donuts, and you're not even licking your lips because you don't need to.
Nah, that's utopian future right there.
That's the challenge that they always say. Try to eat this without licking your lips. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So Trinity, Morpheus, and Neo, great trio right there.
Yeah.
All the scenes between Neo and Morpheus are great, and the reason I love those scenes is because Morpheus is just like, he never tells it straight.
He is a cool character.
He is. One, he looks cool.
Yeah.
Lawrence Fishburne is a cool looking dude, and he's got those glasses on that they just sit there.
Dude, the glasses are too good. All of the glasses they all had, unreal.
But also, he's saying things in riddle and rhyme, which is my cup of tea.
Which is another thing that I wish they did more of.
Just riddles and rhymes?
I wish, because there was the Alice in Wonderland metaphor.
Yeah.
Morpheus mentioned it at the start when he was talking about the pills. And then
the White
Soul
Rabbit
Patch
bit
and the
as
White
well.
Rabbit. And the Soul Patch was talking about, we're not in Kansas anymore or whatever. I feel like that seemed to be...
I mean, that's a different movie. But it's still the same premise, right?
Oh, that's Wizard of Oz, yeah.
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 Yeah. But, it's around the same things. There's an
nursery
alternate
rhymes
universe where...
and not nursery rhymes, but those kind of
like
classic.
things are weird.
I wish there was one. I wish Morpheus had said something at the end that related to the Alice in Wonderland.
Like what?
Like, bro, this is the end of the rabbit hole. Like,
Right.
you've reached it. Something,
Like,
I don't know what.
Hatter. He puts on a hat at the end.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
He's got a little card in there. Is that what you wanted him to do?
No, I'm not just saying, bro. Why are you gonna make jokes? You think this is not a serious podcast?
It is serious.
No, but I just wish there was one thing at the end. I don't know what it could have been. I didn't think about it for too long, but I wish that there was one last little nod to the Alice in Wonderland thing.
Are you saying like once Neo's become the one?
I don't know. I'm saying towards the end when maybe they hacked into the Matrix or they. What are you laughing at me for?
Like when Morpheus is getting tortured by the agent, he's like, "We're in Wonderland!" Like he just yells that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I
video
wanted.
would be like, "That's the third one. 1, 2, 3." They said it 3 times. I'm set.
Dude, Alice in Wonderland bingo. I've got it.
Because look, it is, there is a lot of religious ideas in this movie. The idea of, the one and someone coming in and bringing things back to, to make things right. How like, things, biblical things, someone came in to get rid of all the sins, right? The idea of Trinity being like, there's 3 main characters, the Holy Trinity, all sorts of things, right? So I don't know, why did I get into that? I literally just jumped into that, and I don't know why I got into that. Was it something to do with Alice in Wonderland?
I don't know.
But what I'm saying is there's a lot of reference to I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that.
That's right. Next topic.
Honest. Let's go on to the next topic.
Right.
I want to specifically talk about Keanu for a second.
Yeah.
Because the most famous casting, like the person that they were going to cast was going to be Will Smith for this role.
Oh yeah, I'm
But Will
glad
Smith
they
turned
didn't
it
do Will
down.
Smith.
Imagine this movie with Will Smith, because I think Keanu fits that role of being like a hacker who lives in his house, in his dark apartment, and does computer things so well, but also meets this character of, not really understanding his world and being shocked by everything that's happening, because he doesn't need to say a lot, right? When Keanu says like, when Morpheus jumps over to the other side of the buildings and Keanu goes, "Whoa," right? That's a funny line reading, but if you added some of these line readings into other movies, it would not fit. It would not work.
Yeah.
But because of the way that this movie is and the character that he is, it is perfect. And that's what made... I feel that if this was another movie, Keanu wouldn't have been as famous.
Yeah, Keanu
the character
Reeves
wouldn't have fit.
really fits. He's an interesting actor because he has a very unique way of delivering lines.
Yeah.
The way he speaks I can't think of any other actors. I mean, even in John Wick, it's a very interesting way, and I think it does really fit with this movie and the character of Neo.
And that's why John Wick works, because John Wick works as well as what he does what Keanu Reeves does in this movie, is because although he does a lot, he hasn't got much to say. He doesn't need to sit there doing, because really people don't go to see Keanu Reeves movies to be like, oh, I want to hear Keanu recite these lines. I want to get his perspective. I want to see the acting on his face. Keanu's got the same facial expression no matter what he does. But for this character, that is perfectly what a loner slash introverted character would be like. And I think that's why he's perfect for Neo. Whereas if you have someone like Will Smith, who's a great actor, but is so big.
Yeah.
Will
He's
Smith
bold.
is so big. He's bold. When Neo's told, he's not the one or he is the one, and he says things like, it can't be. Like, you can't see that from Will Smith.
No.
He'd be like, like that. That's what Will
I'm sure if Will Smith had got this role, it still would have been such a great movie, and I'm sure it would have been different, but it still would have been good.
And I'm sure the directors would have would have helped him fit into the role better.
That's right. But I think Keanu Reeves really suits this role.
Yeah. No, there's no one that could have done it better, which is what excites me about this new movie, the new Matrix, because I do want to see what Keanu is like in this and how that character is represented.
Years in the future.
20 years later now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is wild to me. But Vincent, you had some questions that you wanted to hit.
Well, I'm just going to talk about a few more of my favourite bits about this movie.
But yeah, let's talk favourite bits, because I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah, so
I don't know how many minutes we're into this, by the way, but that doesn't matter.
It doesn't
right?
matter. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Everyone's switched off by now anay.
Yeah, that's true. It's just
this is just for us. So the music when they went to break into that facility was the most 90s/2000s music. It sounded like if you went on YouTube and typed in early 2000s music, that's what you would get.
If specifically early 2000s video game music as well.
Yeah. It was just the most generic music, but I think it just fits so well.
Yeah. Now that was when they were they had the big shootout with everything breaking. Yeah. Which is an amazing scene.
It's just so... It's unreal in the sense that none of it really makes sense. I mean, you've got like 12 people shooting at you and nothing happens? Like, obviously...
And you're just running at them as well, which is hilarious.
Yeah. And they just they got 2 guns. They start shooting them, they just throw them away.
Yeah. They're carrying like 8 guns at one time.
Yeah. Man's got like 16 holsters.
Which is great, which is why this movie works and why, the sequels work as well, is because the Matrix is a simulation, so you can alter that if you have the knowledge that this is the world that you live in. So it's cool that they're able to they're able to do those weird, stupid things because they understand the universe and what they're doing.
Yeah.
That scene, I remember it being far more epic and exciting when I first watched it. But really, it is a good scene, but really, it's just people standing behind pillars and pillars breaking.
Yeah.
There's not much else to it.
No, that's right.
I think Trinity has the coolest things in that
the initial
scene, because she...
Oh, there.
I was going to say in that scene specifically, because she gets up and close to these people and starts actually beating them up. She uses less guns than what Neo does in that.
And she jumps off the wall, which is always cool.
Yeah. I mean, if you do flips off the wall, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Going back to that scene that you were saying with Trinity at the start, though, when she's running away from the agent, the music then, that Matrix theme.
Yeah.
I couldn't say it to you right now, but in my head, I know what it is.
Matrix, we're in the Matrix. That song
it's
there? When they say that specifically?
We're in the Matrix, but now we're not because we're back on Zion. That's what they say in that song. No, but it always makes me... It always is wild to me when I watch a movie and they've got a theme that is so unique. It's like, how many keys and how many notes do they have? How can they make such unique...
How many instruments have they come up with?
But is that not wild to you? How that song, or the Avengers theme, or the Star Wars theme it's just that. There's nothing that it's close to or near. It's its own thing. It's so unique, and it's like whenever I hear it, I always think of the Matrix game, which I used to play when I was younger, Enter the Matrix, which is based mainly on the second one. It just, oh man, I feel myself sitting on my GameCube playing that game every time I hear the theme, which is what a good theme does. It takes you somewhere.
Yeah, that's what good music does.
That's what good music does. What other scenes did you like, Vincent?
So I also love that their outfits were just 100% leather.
Dude, I have that as one of my notes as well.
That's hilarious.
Because one, it's not convenient.
No, not at all.
Right?
For mobility.
Unless you're doing you're doing a long ride and you're a man on a horse and it's raining and it's cold, right? You're going to be wearing leather. You're going to be wearing some long leather suits. But other than that, you don't need to walk around with leather.
Yeah.
And here's my thoughts. Is it because the Wachowskis at the time thought that's what was cool? Or did they think this is what our viewership at the time is going to think is cool?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
Because I'm
Could be one
sure
of
that
those.
they would have thought, I'm sure whenever someone creates something, they think that this is going to be the biggest thing in the world. I'm sure they wouldn't have thought it would be this big. So I'm feeling that what they would have done is they would have tried to get, in contact with those people that are, on their computers and introverted, who think that wearing leather and like fedoras is cool, right? Which it is. Hey, look, if you like wearing that, like 100% shout out to you. But I think that, I don't know, was this sparked by something, or was this them saying, hey, heads are going to be thinking leather's cool from now on? But I don't know, man. Like, I mean, we'll talk about it after dark.
I just thought it was kind of funny.
About certain things.
They're just all in leather.
It does fit, though. It fits those characters so well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you couldn't have them in like Hawaiian shirts or something, really. And Morpheus does make it look cool when he's got the big leather trench coat and he's got the green tie on.
Oh yeah, that great. Far out.
Yeah, they are great characters, and Lawrence Fishburne is great in that role.
Top notch. The last thing I want to say is I really love the ending of the movie.
Of a movie or of this movie specifically?
No, I just like an ending of a movie. That's my favorite part of the movie, the ending.
Yeah.
No, so the ending of this movie was great because, I mean, going into it, I thought, oh, okay, yeah, this is a movie. We're going to have, when I got into it, okay, we've got this AI, whatever. They're either going to free people from the Matrix or they're going to hack into the AI and break it down and then everything's going to be happy. But I'm really glad that it ended off as Neo now understands the Matrix. He now knows how to use it for his benefit.
Yeah.
Rather than there being this grand resolution, because I'm assuming they'll get into that in the next two movies, whatever happens there, which I'm really excited to watch.
I know. I was going to say, this is going to be exciting times for you.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed just the ending. I think they did a really good job because,
that final scene of him flying away
is
very cool because it does show exactly that. It shows that not only is he the one and he can do crazy stuff, but he totally understands where he's at. And just like what he said at the start of the movie where he talks about fate and how he doesn't believe in it because you can make your own choices. That is exactly what this movie is about.
I've got a big thing about that.
And while we're actually on the topic of that very quickly, this is not something that we can get into very much because it's not our lived experience, but there's a whole lot of elements regarding trans people in this movie. And I think that's also highlighted in the new Matrix movie because the Wachowskis are trans individuals and it makes sense. This story about being someone that you're not and feeling that you didn't belong within the space that you were at, and then you realize that you can open yourself up to new experiences and to create your own way of life.
Yeah, choose your own path.
That's right, choose your own path, which I think is really cool. Like now, retrospectively looking back, now both of the directors have transitioned as well.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, so it'd be cool to see because I think the new movie has bigger themes on that. But as I said, we haven't got the capacity to talk about that much further.
We'll just say that it was good
that was relevant to what you were saying then.
Yeah. When you're touching on the fate and that kind of stuff, I really liked that theme in the movie, especially when Morpheus was saying to Neo, he's the one. I know you're the one, whatever.
Yeah.
And then he goes to the Oracle and the Oracle says, no, you're not the one. Sorry, bud. But then she also says things like, one of the things was, it's okay about the vase. And then he breaks the vase. And then he goes, how did you know? And then she said, whatever. But the crazy thing is, what would have happened if I hadn't said anything? Would you still have broken the vase?
Yeah, that's right.
So she's telling him he's not the one, but,
she's tricky, man.
That's right.
Tricky.
But she was a great character as well. Absolutely. With that
whole scene is great. I think that whole scene is great.
Fantastic.
And like, what is it? The spoon is...
Don't try to bend the spoon. Just know that the spoon doesn't exist or something like that. I don't know, something.
Yeah.
Bend yourself.
Yeah, but that's right. That whole idea of, people can tell you what you are, but it's up to you to make that choice. And but it's also, it also shows that sometimes what people say to us will affect what choices we make as well.
Yeah, that's right. Which it did, because then he's trying to prove her wrong, that because he doesn't believe in fate. He's going, well, screw this. At that point where he learned how to understand the Matrix and that kind of stuff, he's going, bro, I'm making my own path here.
That's right. The path
Which
of
is
Neo,
wild.
man.
The path of Neo.
That's the other game. That's the other game.
That's the other game.
It's a good game, man. It's a good
Right,
game.
he was like, I'm going to make my own game.
Yeah, on GameCube.
And path. And GameCube. And so... And the other thing the Oracle was saying is... Oh, sorry, keep going. No, go.
No. You're staying on Oracle. Let's stay on Oracle.
I was just going to say, as she also said, knowing you're the one is like knowing you're in love. You don't know until you are. You don't know until you know, and no one else can tell you. So she's then directly contradicting herself as well. That's
right.
So
because she can't tell, she can't say whether or not he is or he's not, because she's not Neo. She can't figure that out.
Yeah,
and also she doesn't understand that Neo, if you swap the letters around a little bit, that says 1.
Bro, she didn't even do that. Come on, man. She didn't even write it on the board.
She should have written it on the board,
But I 100% think she knew what was going on. But that was interesting, because then Trinity was saying that, at the end she kisses Neo and they're going like, oh, you can't die because the Oracle said I fall in love with the one. And I was a bit iffy about that, but I realized how it kind of came back to the conversation with Oracle.
But then you saw Neo jump into a man and you forgot about it completely.
Yeah, so that was another thing that so that's the CGI in this movie I thought held up really well.
It does, yeah. And
even the aliens, I mean, there wasn't a time where I was going, man, that's janky as hell. Except for when he jumps into the man and explodes. That was the worst. That was the worst.
That is pretty funny, though.
It's funny, yeah.
It is also cool, because he's again, he's realized what he can do, and that's the first thing he chooses to do. Or no, sorry, he stops the bullets first. Bullets first, which is pretty amazing.
And he goes, I'm just diving into this fool.
I'm just diving into that fool. I think the aliens and that space works really well, because it's allowed to be, sort of stuck in that time. Like, the AI created themselves at this one point, so they're allowed to look like they looked like when they first created themselves. So they're allowed to look like weird squid creatures, right?
Yeah, no, I'm not saying the look of them. I'm saying the actual execution of.
But the execution, yeah, that's right.
I think that was well done. I don't have any issues with
because the execution works, that's why also the other thing works as well.
Okay.
That's why they can look like of that time, and they can stay just as squid monsters that look like they were made in the early 90s, right? Because that's exactly what they were. But what I want to speak about very quickly is some of my favorite scenes.
Yep.
I think every single fight scene in this movie was done really, really, really
well.
Yeah,
the actually, that's something that I didn't mention. But yeah, I agree. The actual fighting was really well done.
Especially, I think what they obviously try to emulate was they try to emulate martial arts movies, not of that time, but previous to that, where those early movies where they didn't have the capacity or the budget to have multiple cameras shooting in multiple spaces, so they just shot wide shots, so that the characters could just fight, and they did their choreography, they did all that. Obviously, in this movie, it's expanded upon because people are flying and people are jumping. But that scene with Morpheus versus Keanu when they go into the dojo and they're first trying things out, that's amazing. That's so much fun.
But it's also such good martial arts, and it's a lot of it. There is a lot. It looks like
they did it as well.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's wild.
The fight scene with Neo and Agent Smith is really cool.
Yeah.
And I love the bits where Agent Smith is just punching him, and his hands are moving so fast that it looks like he's got like 8 different hands just punching him. I think that's really cool. I'm trying to think what other fight scenes do they have in it. There's one with like that whole action sequence with Trinity at the start is amazing.
That was really good. That was a really good scene.
Especially because that made me feel that we could have got a whole movie where Neo wasn't even in it, where it was just them doing things previous to finding Neo,
or trying to find Neo and find the
and
person. Yeah,
because
that's coming next. The prequel,
because those characters are so cool individually, but also if they have an understanding of the Matrix as well. Maybe not as much as what Neo ends up having, but they can still do wild things.
Yeah,
it's very cool. No, I don't really have any issues with scenes either. I don't have any scenes that I didn't really like. That slop scene always gets me though when they're in that slop.
Yeah,
and it's got like amino acids and whatnot in it.
That's all you need, bro.
I mean, it's all you need, but also like try to find something better. You know what I mean? I know that the whole world is destroyed, and
that's right. They just need nutrients.
It's scorched earth and whatnot, and they need nutrients. But no wonder Soul Patch wants to stay in the Matrix and eat steaks. If you're getting slop at home and you got steaks outside,
That's true. Well,
they say like what. They say why go out for hamburgers when you got steak at home, but like you're going to be going out for hamburgers when you got slop at home. That's for sure.
That's right. It's a no-brainer, and that actually leads on to one of the questions I have.
Okay, yeah, I want to hear your questions now.
So, I'll go for the first one. So the goal of the AI the goal of Neo, Morpheus, Trinity, that crew, is to free humans. Yeah.
Yes.
What are they freeing them from?
That's my issue with this as well, because the idea is choice, right? And being able to make your own choice. Which makes sense for a small amount of people. But if they're going to take down the whole Matrix, how are they going to have every single human being, like if half the human beings make that choice and half don't, half stay in the Matrix, half go out, which I'm assuming would happen, right? Because everything's 50-50. Then there's no real winning for Morpheus and his crew.
Yeah,
they have to just destroy the Matrix, and then they give them no choice, the humans.
Yeah.
They just have to live in this dystopian world.
Or do they then create a Matrix of their own? They create their Matrix themselves and chuck people in it.
Which, I mean, they could, given the technology they have.
Yeah, that's one thing, because what's their goal? Because
what's the end game?
I mean, the world looks trash.
Yeah, it's not very good.
So they're bringing people out and they're going like, "What the hell? Put me back!"
But like
they
do have sweaty raves and whatnot. You will see that in the second one. In Zion, there's just sweaty raves.
Yeah, I'm saying that's not everyone's cup of tea.
That's not everyone's cup of tea, but if you haven't been doing sweaty raves and you get invited to a sweaty rave, you'll be like, this might be my cup of tea. And you just try it out at least. But yeah, no, I don't know what the end game is for that. I understand, I don't know where it goes. Maybe that is explained in later films.
Yeah, that's what I'm interested to see. Because I'm sure there'll be some sort of... Yeah, that's true. Maybe he's an AI.
Maybe he's an AI, man. I mean, aren't we all AIs,
Yeah, no,
that's
just
a simulation theory.
That was just an interesting thought I had, because what is their end game? I guess we'll find out. Anyway, the next one was
give me more questions.
What happens to the humans that are born in the Matrix? Supposedly you can have a partner in the Matrix and you can birth someone,
right.
But that person is now not real.
I'm assuming that's just how babies are born.
Yeah, but if they've got to farm them, they can't just rely on humans being able to procreate in the Matrix. But they also don't have humans actually... Yeah. But that was the other thing I was thinking, like maybe they see it in the Matrix and they go, okay, these two are having a kid and we'll do that. Or maybe they literally don't care and are just chucking... Like, for example, they farm humans. They create babies. Do they then just chuck them in the Matrix at some point? Because they all go into the Matrix. Do they then go into the Matrix and they're like, okay, map that to this person here, These guys had
And
a
they
kid.
just-
That's this one.
That's right. Oh,
Yeah.
that would be my assumption, but that's a good point. There's, I mean, that's something that's not explained. Look, there's probably some
Oh yeah,
Matrix,
but they're never going to explain everything.
no, they never explain everything. But that's a good question.
Yeah. So, that's right. Agent Smith mentioned that humans are like a virus that moves from place to place, consuming all natural resources,
Yeah.
and that's why the whole robots had to get rid of them.
Yep, yeah.
Why is the Earth looking trash still? Is the robots what is the robots' end goal for them? Is it just to survive?
The idea was that the reason that the Earth looks trash is because humans try to kill the robots because the only power source they had was the sun
Yeah.
at that point. So they tried to do that by doing some scorched earth, by essentially, taking out the power of the sun,
Yeah,
which
whatever.
led to other issues.
Yeah.
So I don't think the world has any chance of coming back.
Yeah, so then what are the robots going to do? They're just going to chill there and... Because it looks like they're well established. They've got these pillars of
Well, they got
humans
giant
and-
pillars, man.
That's what I mean. They've got a well established situation there. What are they achieving?
They just achieving maintaining their life.
Yeah, see that's, and then what's
I mean, let's get them on the pod, is what I'm thinking.
that's what I reckon. Yeah, get the Wachowski brothers, get the robots.
Wait, not the Wachowski brothers anymore before you get us cancelled for it's 12:21 and we're going to get
Okay.
cancelled.
I thought they.
It's the Wachowskis at this point.
Okay, sorry. I thought it said on the movie.
It did say it does say that, but that's because that was done in.
Okay.
They've since had
fair
transitioned.
enough. I thought that
That's all right.
they might
No,
have
that's
gone back
look,
and did that.
look. No, that's not on you. That's on Netflix.
That's right. I mean, look, it's 12:21. You know what else we can do?
It's 12:21, man. We can't get cancelled at 12:21.
Okay, it's-
It's midday. Vincent,
midday.
have you got any other ideas? Because I have a thing that's looking at me right now that says, now this is from the 13th of October 2020. Do we live in a simulation? Chances are about 50-50. That's the title.
So we can go into that, and then I've got one other question at the end.
No, ask me the question. I'll open this.
No,
while
because
you
it's
ask me
related
the
to
question.
simulation things. So go into
Because
that.
this might be I have to subscribe or something. All right, I've accepted cookies, so we're in. All right, so gauging whether or not we dwell inside someone else's computer may come down to advanced AI research or measurements at the frontiers of cosmology. So they haven't got talking points in here, which is unfortunate.
Okay.
They just haven't got dot points.
I don't know if we've got a lot of time to be talking about simulation theories, but I do want to pose this final question, which is, if you had the choice to live in the Matrix, say this was the Matrix, what we're doing right now, like making mediocre content for other Matrix heads,
Or it has to be, man.
or being in the scorched earth, whatever that would be.
What would I do?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Now, what kind of a person am I on this scorched earth?
You are you.
Just me. Like, I'm not the one or nothing.
No, you're just you.
Well, you know what? What I would do is, I'd probably prefer. I mean, as the soul patch says, ignorance is bliss, which is why this podcast is so great, because we're ignorant. But I would prefer to be in with the crew outside of the Matrix, because I can still go into those training programs whenever I want to.
Yeah, that's true.
But I also have choice as to what I want to do. And, greater good and whatnot. The only thing that would get me was, the slop would get me. Because how are we going to do food reviews on Zion with the slop?
That's the thing. You'd have to eat the slop, because the reason that humans can they eat in the Matrix? What happens in the Matrix? They just...
I'm assuming they sustain their nutrients, because how else are they going to be...
Yeah, that's what I mean. So you actually still have to eat the slop if you're not hooked up to their thing.
That's right, yeah. No, I'm fine with eating the slop. It's just, how would you and I be able to make this thing work?
We'd have to do
How many
Matrix,
slop
strictly
taste
Matrix.
tests could you... How many slop taste tests could you do?
Yeah.
Hey, we're at Zion. Do you want anything? It works once, but maybe not,
Yeah, but
how
also
many episodes we're going to do.
the audience is not there.
That's true, and also we look better when we're not green code, really.
True.
We look better in person.
I'd
I'd go on the crew,
I would think that most people would live in the Matrix.
It seems
because
a lot easier.
once you know that there's, I think that once someone knows that there is a worse option out there, why would they want to do that?
Well, it depends on what part of that worse option they're like, what they're doing in that worse option. So if they're just in there and they're just like, life is trash, like, of course they're going to choose the better option. But if they're in there, they're like, life is trash, but maybe I have a chance of making it better.
Yeah, but what are they like? What are they going to do? Rebuild the entire Earth?
Nah, I don't know. What are we trying to do here? You know?
It seems like, to me, it seems like a pretty good mutual scenario here. The AI gets power, and the humans get a nice living.
I mean, it's cruisy. It is cruisy.
Well, it's just like your normal life. Like, for example, if this was the simulation.
This was a simulation. Would I still be able to come back and do the podcast? That's all I'm saying. This is what I'm doing. Scrap everything. Scrap everything that I've said. I'm doing what Soul Patch said. And I'm saying what I want you to do is I want you to put me back into the Matrix. Mr. Smith, put me back into the Matrix. But the back catalogue's got 2 million subscribers.
Okay, yeah.
We start at 2 million subs. I don't want to go too high. We start at 2 million subs, then we go up from there.
Okay, yeah. Is you go up or go down from there?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, if Agent Smith comes at me with going down from there, I'm coming at him with hands. Like, they're going to be graced up hands because I'm going to be doing feud reviews, but I'm coming at him with hands, man.
Yeah,
no,
so
that is pretty. It's a good question. But look, if we are in a simulation, what's that going to do for anyone? Is exactly what you're saying. Like, what are we going to be sad about it?
That's right. What are we going to do?
It is what it is. You just say it is what it is. You go on with your life. Also, what kind of a simulation we're living in when it's just like coronavirus for 3 years?
Someone's messed around with the settings. Someone's had technical difficulties.
But Vincent, do you think that this movie was worth admission to Netflix?
100%. I would rate this probably about an 8 out of 10, this movie.
Yeah.
This was a very, very good movie. I really enjoyed it.
It's also very rewatchable as well.
Yeah.
You can go back and enjoy it just as being an action movie, as a sci-fi movie, but you can also enjoy it, as what you were doing, as a practice in just a thought about the universe and what we're doing here.
That's right.
So Vincent,
what are we doing here? Like, what is this?
Here on this podcast?
Yeah.
We're not doing anything good, man.
Yeah.
This has gone on for like 2 hours, I think. How long has this gone on for?
Nah, it's been about an hour and 15. But that counts all the rubbish that we did at the start.
Okay. Well, that's good because it's rubbish. But Vincent, I want you to tell them where they can find us.
Yep.
Right now.
So we have TikTok now, where the back catalogue won.
Yeah.
Because some other head's got the back catalogue, and we can't afford to pay them for the name.
Man.
Yeah, but it is what it is.
Upsetting.
I'll put that in the description down below, or on Instagram, at the back catalogue, Twitter, back catalogue. Bro, we've got different things everywhere. This is so rough.
Well, look, it's not our fault.
It's not,
man.
But that's all. You can send us an email if you want. Everything's down below. Like, what do I need to tell you something? Just look at the thing and you can press the links.
Tell them about the Patreon, man. Tell them.
Patreon. If you want to listen to Patreon content where we ramble about, simulations, etc.
Bro, we ramble about it all.
Yeah. Anyway, should we just end it now?
Let's just end it.
Let's just end it?
Yeah.
All right. Talk soon.
You always said farewell, didn't you?
I know, I almost said
farewell. Like this, you're like...
For God's sake, talk soon.